Welcome to another episode of Driving to the Res with your favorite hosts,
Inelia
and Larry.
Yes.
Yay! We did it kind of good. It's okay.
We waited our 10 seconds like we're supposed to.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we can sync up our
sound usually.
Yeah. But we don't have to
do that anymore.
It's rehearsal, when you rehearse something enough times, you kind of get stuck in it a little bit.
Yes.
That's kind of like life, I think, in general.
Mm-hmm.
Our habits tend to,
Yeah.
ensnare us in repetition.
Ensnare us in repetition.
Ensnare us. Yeah.
Yes.
That's not what we're talking about today, though. Although it is something like that. It's like creating that habits that ensnare us.
Mm.
Anyway.
Yes.
This week we're going to talk about health. What I learned about health
is shocking.
What I learned about health is shocking.
Yes.
I like you to say this part right here. Hold on.
Okay.
This first part.
All right. If you're like me, a light worker.
Oh, honey.
Then you and others' health is super important to you.
Why?
Why is that?
Why?
Why is that?
Why is health of other people important to you?
Yeah, why is it?
Because you're a light worker, then it means it is?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
All right. It says we care about how people are doing.
Yes.
We care about people.
Yes,
and how
we
they're
do.
doing.
Yeah.
We want them to do well.
Yes.
Why?
Because we're light workers.
We want them to mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy and strong.
We do want that.
Okay. I come from 3 ancient healing lineages. That wouldn't be me, that's you.
Yes.
As the author.
Yes.
But in my life, I have very much rejected these lineages as much as I could.
Yes.
She lives a life of rejection. I reject myself in all ways.
Not myself in all ways. Don't put
just
words.
my lineages. Just my healing lineages.
Really words into my mouth, darling.
Just read what it says.
Yes, just read what it says.
These healing lineages are rejected by you as much as you can.
Yes.
Why?
Find out.
It says,
because what I learned about people's health shocked me.
I'm curious.
Here's the thing.
I'm curious.
Lineages are those. They're not necessarily positive or negative. They're lineages. They're like streams of consciousness that come in from your ancestry. So sometimes these lineages come in through reincarnation, and sometimes they come in through your family, like genetic lineages that contain certain skills and abilities, some certain tendencies, and that the human collective will gather to allow you to do something. But they're not necessarily positive or not necessarily compatible with the light paradigm. Okay? So, for example, I also come from lineages of warriors. My physical body especially had many, many incarnations as a warrior. And in my family, genetic family, there's also many, many warriors. I mean, insanely powerful warriors. And those, we could understand it a little bit better, that a lineage is not necessarily a positive thing, because warrior is somebody who plays in war, right? The war games or the stage of war, all that type of thing. Fighting and defeating and hurting others is not high frequencies, low frequency game. When you take your judgment out of it and you just see, okay, this is high frequency, this is low frequency, without saying, oh, one's good and one's bad, or that's more suitable and that's not so suitable, or compatible and incompatible, then you can see that when I talk about healing lineages, instantly you became very defensive and attacking me, because you come from very powerful healing lineages too. And why would I ignore them? Right?
Yeah, why? Because what you learned about people's health shocked you.
Yes.
Which, when I learned about what you learned about by telling me, it shocked me too.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Well, this is a story about when you were 12.
Yes.
Here's the why. Here's the why. Told in Journey Story Formula.
Yes. Told in Journey Story Formula.
When as in
Inelia.
she, when she was 12 years old, her mother saw that she could heal people.
Yes.
I occasionally ask for, honey, can I have a little bit, please?
Yeah, put my hand in my head.
My knee hurts.
My knee hurts.
My elbow is sore.
And my hand lost her feelings.
My hand's not, working right. Yeah. She does occasionally, indulge me, but...
Yeah, I roll my eyes out loud. I said, very well then. And I do hands-on healing. I say, oh, that feels so much better.
Thank you. Yes. Well, she started bringing people around to be healed.
My mum did, yes.
Yes, your mom did. These people were not just physically sick, but also emotionally and mentally sick.
Yes.
I was too young to be doing that kind of work. And I soon stopped. But before I stopped, and due to the many, many people that had come around, I started to see some patterns. Mm-hmm. Very observant for a 12-year-old, huh?
I was always observant, yeah. I like to be the observer. I still do. I prefer the observer.
It says right here, you love to see how things work. And the patterns fascinated you.
I do like patterns, yes.
We were just listening to patterns.
Yes, we were.
On a ride here.
Mm-hmm.
We unfortunately, forgot our computer up the hill, so we got to go for another cruise, which meant we got a half hour more of listening.
Yes.
And the listening, we were listening to cymatics, and it got very interesting.
It did.
On the way
very
back.
Quickly.
Yeah.
And Peebee's crying at the door.
Where is Peebee?
Crying at the door. She was a second ago.
I think you're psychic, because I didn't hear it. Let me check.
Going to check the door. There she is. Hi, my baby girl. Hi, baby girl. Did you hear click, click, click?
Yes,
click,
click, click, click, click, click.
I don't know if she wants to come up here because it's too high for her.
She'll probably like her workbench.
Yeah, go and sit on your workbench. All right.
Which is multiple pillows and cushions.
Yes, and rugs.
And rugs.
Fluffy rugs.
Here's the thing that fascinated you. The thing I saw shocked me was that it didn't matter what the person said. They might say, oh, I want to heal my hand, for example. If their higher self said no, and we healed them anyway, they soon came back with another ailment that was just as serious as the first.
Oh, there's a little bit missing here.
That's what I was a little misunderstanding before.
Yeah. Actually, the article goes, if their higher self said no, or if their higher self or some program said no, a program that they're carrying said no, and then we healed them anyway, they soon came back with another different ailment, right?
Yeah, so the gist of this paragraph is that at a level of like a complainer, well, my arm hurts. Can you heal it?
Yes.
Yeah. Heal it. But without tapping into, what and why is this ailment here?
Right.
What purpose is this serving for you in whichever way that you're using it? Mm-hmm. If you heal it anyway and it goes away, something comes back to serve the same purpose.
Exactly.
Because there is a higher purpose to many of these things. It's not necessarily that higher purpose is good.
Positive or negative.
Or positive
but also,
or negative. It just
it's
exists.
a different thing. But also could be programs.
It could be a program.
And the programs could be high frequency or low frequency.
Right. The example I remember you use often was your ability to play, and your hand was crushed so that it couldn't play guitar anymore.
Right.
So that you took away that
addiction.
Well, it's that irresistible attraction to.
It was an addiction. Music. Let's not mince words here. I was addicted to music.
You want me to do what? I'm too busy doing music.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it did serve a purpose. It was a higher purpose, I suppose.
It was definitely, looking back, it was a high frequency purpose, but only because I stopped listening. Right? Because I knew I was indulging something that I shouldn't be. Playing guitar for 6 hours a day minimum at 16 or whatever.
At the expense of everything.
An expense of everything else. It's not positive and it's not a good thing. Yeah, it made me extremely good at it. But it wasn't healthy and it wasn't what I was here to do. And I knew this. And I ignored it. I ignored it every day when myself, even not even expanded self-awareness, but even my normal regular self-awareness, and you shouldn't be doing this again. Instead of playing that, you should be doing this other thing, and you should be doing this other thing, and you should be doing this other thing. And I would ignore everything and do it anyways, right? So after like a year or two of ignoring your own wisdom is going to stop you, right? It's going to stop you doing what you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
So that's what happened. And he smashed my hand. That
makes sense. But it's, don't take that as some people tend to take the parts that they hear to support the part that they want.
Right.
So it was like, I smashed my hand and it was a good thing.
It wasn't good because it brought a lot of pain and disability in other areas that needed my strength, needed my connection. Right. And a lot of it also was from an agreement. The agreement comes in from different directions, right? From your different directions of your life. There was other purposes to cutting that connection also. Part of it also was the healing thing, because my mom was sneaking more people in also, right? And other people just spontaneously would appear in my path, and you need that energy flow in your hands, right? I mean, it's very minor now, and it still heals. But also there was, my sister put in really good words. She said to me, not from the perspective of hands as such, although I didn't want to touch anything in the world, but she said also from me not being able to eat anything because I was allergic to just about everything. And she said, it's almost like you're keeping the world at arm's length, that you don't want to touch the world, you don't want to be connected to it, or like I would say, polluted by it, right? And that was part of it also. So the agreement doesn't just come in, to stop music, but also it has to be from different locations. It's almost like when we look at the reason why we're always getting shadow banned on the internet. And to me, when I look at it, I could push through. I could put in pressure, I could put pressure in and have it resolved, right? Mm-hmm. But when I look at it, the truth is I find it very comfortable because I never wanted to go public anyways. And I'm a very private person. And like I said, I like to observe. I like to be the one that's looking, not the one being looked at, right? Yeah. So do you see the agreement doesn't come in through one location only for an experience that you have, including sickness, right? Or including smashing my hand. It comes in multiple ways. And becoming aware of those multiple ways, you can totally empower yourself, right? But with the healing thing, what I found, and the next bit, right, that with people, it wasn't so, I could see all the ways that they were letting things in, absolutely, and I would tell them about it and tell them what to do so they would stop. But
it occurred to me at the time that health issues were symptoms of something else happening to the person. This was a revelation to me, but not shocking, just new and interesting. What was shocking was something completely different. Most of these people had no idea what was causing their ailments and had no intention of finding out.
That was shocking to me.
It didn't matter how much information I gave them. They didn't hear it.
Right.
And I gave up.
Yep.
I didn't give up on them. I gave up on trying to heal the world.
Right.
Which was a good thing anyway.
Yes.
What I realized was that what we're doing here as lightworkers isn't about healing the world, but empowering the world to become aware enough to see what was actually happening in their lives.
Right.
Of course, there are plenty who have their higher self agreements not to become aware, to keep them in their set experience in the split, right?
Let's clarify that a little bit.
Okay, that's good.
Because actually, their higher selves are saying, wake up, wake up, wake up,
They're ignoring
lift the veil, lift the fog, lift the veil of forgetfulness, get on with it, expand your awareness. That's what their higher self is saying. But it's a conversation that we had earlier, actually. It's implied here, but it's not laid out, right, in essay format.
Which I'm pushing for. How about a couple essays? I'm a fan.
But it is a form of, like I did with my music playing, right? And or the agreement of I didn't want to touch the world. There's a time frame, usually it could be months or years, where we literally ignore our higher self. We ignore our higher self. And for most people that I've seen, because guess what? I can all like that movie, I can talk to dead people, right? Or I can see dead people and I can talk to them. As soon as a kid, even more than now. Or I should say, actually, I've learned to ignore them nowadays. But I've learned that when a person crosses over, they release the body, and their soul and their body become separate. Sometimes they hang on to each other on the other side, but most often they both have a different experience of the in-between lives. And what I've seen and what I perceived and spoken with these people is that there's a lot of oops and a lot of I'm so sorry. And oh my gosh, now I have to go back and try again because I totally messed up that time and I wasted a whole lifetime doing this other thing. I get a lot of that. Now, what's really fascinating, and it's not connected to this, but I think still fascinating, that there are people who, in my life, people who are close to me, who have done an extremely negative action that impacts me negatively, and I perceive it, right? And then I will say, you're going to be sorry, man, about this, because I know they are. I'm not saying they're going to get punished or whatever, although many people who believe in karma will punish themselves. But it's like, you're going to say, oops, and often they will come into today from the future, some future time, to tell me they're sorry, because they're in that future time, they're in between lives. They're in the in-between life space. And they come back to this moment when they did that action. And after that stops me like a brick, because, sometimes I will engage in negativity and go into an arguments mode, right? But as I'm about to indulge in the argument, they pop in the in-between lives in the future, says, I'm so fucking sorry. Pardon my French. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I didn't understand. And I'm just so sorry. Right? Or sometimes they'll come in and say, you tried to make me understand. You told me the stories and you told me other stories and I still didn't understand. Right? But why did you tell me those other stories that were not relevant? And I'd say, because I was trying to make you understand. The story wasn't important. I was trying you to see the point. And then they'll say, I'm so sorry, oopsie, and all the rest, And when that happens, there's a couple of things that happens there. One of them is, forgiveness is not part of the high frequency paradigm. Because who are you to, you're not a victim.
Forgive is fault.
Yeah.
Forgive implies something.
Right, implies that you're a victim. And I'm nobody's victim, right? So what I say is I understand, right? And then sometimes if they're stuck in that level of engagement, what's really difficult is for me to stay angry at them or for me to carry the pain forward. That's what's really difficult to do.
Takes the wind out of your sails in a sense.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. And so there's another bit of information, of course, that comes in when that happens is, that person's going to die before I do. Because they're communicating in the future, right? They come in from the future to communicate with me in this life. And twice now, I've seen that, perceived that, and sensed it, and said those words, and those individuals are now dead. They're gone. Even now. Young. Really young. Gone. At the time, it's like, geez, that person is younger than me. Really? They're going to die before me? Oh my gosh. And boom, a year or two later, they were gone. And, so it's that type of thing that you can perceive from that interaction, that the actions that a person takes are not always from their higher self perspective. Sometimes they're from programs. That's what's strange here that it's gone. I don't know. Maybe my edits. My computer went really funny this morning when I was editing the newsletter. And I think that some of the edits got lost.
Because I think when you were reading that to me this morning, that was a place where I stumbled quite a few times. Like, I can't get that. I don't get that. So that's probably why we were missing something there. So
maybe when you get the email, as you read this email, it's going to be slightly different there to clarify it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Because it's very important this is a very important point. I don't want you to forget it. And it's that, people say everything happens for a reason. And I always say yes, but the reason is not always positive. That's one of the things. And another thing is, your higher self knows better. And I say that a lot, but that's for major decisions in life. Major decisions in life. Their higher self knows better. Especially after you and others have insisted and supported and helped that person to make a better choice. And they still don't do it. Right? The higher self knows better. If I feel it. It's from a higher self perspective, as in higher self, as in expanded awareness, a decision of a choice they wanted to make, an experience they wanted to have. But at the same time, oftentimes, and especially with these people, and what shocked me was that they weren't acting from a higher self perspective, right? Their higher self perspective was actually saying heal, but not heal the monkey arm or whatever.
Heal the reason for the
monkey arm, yes.
Right.
So when I figured it out and I expressed that, that's when they were not interested.
Yeah, when you're talking, not interested. What you need to do is this, and that'll go away or heal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, fine, but can you just heal it?
Exactly.
Because it hurts.
Yeah. Or a lot of the time, I say, "Oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
You can heal this now, and I'll do that."
Yes. And they would do that, right? And they would go away, and then they'll come back sick from another very similar condition. And did you do XYZ? No, not yet.
It didn't hurt anymore. I didn't need to.
Not yet. I meant to. I plan to do it next week or whatever. Right?
Lost my reminder.
Yes. So oftentimes when that happens nowadays, I say, well, you do that. And when you've done that, then contact me again. And 9 times out of 10, actually 9.9 times out of 10, the person never contacts me again.
Because they aren't going to do that.
They're not gonna, right? Yeah. Of course, occasionally the person is ready, the healing is ready, the higher self is ready, their human collective is ready, and everybody's ready, and they orchestrate a healing story that involves me. It could be in a train or on an event or whatever's. And I get the message. I get the message from their higher self. I get the message from the human collective, from Gaia. I get the message from multiple locations. Yes. Facilitate this. Mm-hmm. Right? And then, hands on and boom, it's gone, whatever it was. And they know it. But the reason why I don't do that as a profession, or I don't talk about it very much, this is about healing, so we're talking about it, is because that's not the job I'm here to do. Right? I may carry those lineages, which also carry other important aspects of skills that I use every day in the work that we're doing, delivering the message of empowerment. But that side of it is just a side note for me. And what I don't want to happen is for thousands of sick people to arrive expecting that miraculous healing that they can orchestrate, because I don't actually do anything, and be in this situation.
Themselves through empowering them to be aware enough to see what's actually happening.
Exactly. So that's a larger healing, right?
That heals them all.
Exactly. That's a larger healing that I can perceive. It's not the boom, hands on, the thing is gone, which doesn't actually help them. Because actually, they don't even need someone to put their hands and heal them. They don't need it, but it's a healing story. Mm-hmm. So what I found was that most people, because yes, they can create a healing story like that and have a spontaneous healing, but the issues haven't been addressed and they come back. So all of my work is to deal with the issues.
The issues.
Not the actual symptoms of the issue, which it might be a monkey arm or whatever, right?
Mm. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, health is our natural state. And when we get sick, which is a word, sick, implying a whole bunch of things that aren't necessarily true.
Right.
But when we get sick, our condition is a symptom of something which is dissonant in our lives. And it could very well be toxins that need flushed.
I didn't write that down.
I did. Our bodies need support, and we need the information to support them. So you go in a toxic environment, you're going to need to flush afterward. Remember yesterday I went into one?
Yes.
And I come home and I told you what I tell you. I told him my knee delaminated itself.
Yeah.
Could feel it. The water can destructure it because I have one knee who's a bit weak. And so I've healed it as I would consider healing it. I structured its water and I cleaned it and toxed and all the other stuff. And I can build my water up, but it's not like solid water. It's like good water, but just barely holding in there. If I'm cautious.
Why?
Well, right now it's a signal.
Right, exactly. How you use it.
It signals how much toxic load did I just expose myself to because I'm a bit ignorant. Well, I wouldn't say ignorant. I would say hard-headed.
Hard-headed or...
I would say made of stainless steel.
Which you actually aren't.
But I'm not. But that's how I
function
in my life.
Yeah.
I'm made out of stainless steel so that I'm impervious to
eating rubbish,
all those things, right? But
toxifying
there
air,
is a load. There is a load that
frequencies,
needs to be, exhausted.
Input of data, toxic.
And lately, my taste has been tuned a little bit. So what used to be yummy has tastes a bit like chemicals. Yesterday, I bought some donuts. They were lemon donuts.
Lemon flavored donuts.
Natural flavored with other natural flavors.
Oh
whatever that means.
Yeah,
so first taste, it was like, I think this is chemicals. This doesn't taste like a lemon.
Yeah.
And I tested it with Brett and he said, yeah, that's chemicals, but it's good. He ate it. And I tried Fred out on it and he said, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole.
Good.
He just looked at the directions.
Yes. The ingredients.
Yeah, so the same thing with my knee. After that exposure, I knew, I have been exposed to something, and we all know what it is nowadays. And it's not that, but it's that. And
5G.
Whatever it is, my knee delaminated, and I could feel that it had pain in it.
Yeah.
And so I knew what I needed to do, which was a flush, and I took some good water. I took some hydrogen air. I took a hot bath to get everything loose and flushed, and then I rehydrogenated my body to get it stuck back together. I struck it back together. Yeah. And my knee stopped hurting, and it let me that message, yeah, you're done. You did a good job of it. And this morning I woke up, I felt a little bit queasy in my stomach. Because,
No?
More flushing.
Oh, okay.
TMI. I think we could flush in many ways. That was the other way. And once that was done, everything was good.
That's good. Yeah.
So that was the information comes when we expand our awareness. I didn't take a pill for my tummy. I didn't take an aspirin for my knee. I got the information. I expanded my awareness. I know what this message is. Oh, okay. I know what to do for this. Okay. I wasn't sick, but I was flushing.
Yes. I think you made a good point there. In other words, let me see if I interpreted it correctly.
Okay.
You're seeing the symptoms, like the pain in your knee, as data. Information.
It
not a sickness, not a condition or chronic of anything, but it's information for you that allows you to communicate with your body, and you can now know what to do.
Loud enough that I can hear it.
Yes, because you're hard of hearing.
Well, I call it impervious and stainless steel, remember?
Oh, of course, yes, you're made of stainless steel.
That's powerful stuff.
Yes.
But I still need data.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's data that I can hear, which...
You heard.
I don't hear it and then, oh, my poor me. I hear it's like, oh, okay, I know what's happening. And then I know what to do with it. It's a little bit like the dream book where you read the dream book and then the dream book is where you can access the data.
Yes.
Similar to that. And if you don't know what that means if you want to have your dreams talk to you, get a dream book and read it.
Read it from
a couple times.
Cover, yeah.
And then your dreams will know to speak to you through that book. And you can open that book and that language will be what you can read. So you can interpret your dreams really, really, really well.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good tangents.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Expand your awareness. Empower yourself to become aware enough to see what is actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah. Yes, because I've seen a lot of individuals saying, well, how do I know this is my higher self? How do I know that maybe it's a program, right? And all these type of things. And how can I learn to trust myself to act from a high frequency space rather than a low frequency program, belief system, habit, addiction.
A low frequency resonance.
Resonance, low frequency resonance, and all these type of things. And that's why we created the truth in it exercise in the truthing class, truth and lies class. You learn how to figure it out from a perspective of beyond your own belief systems. And the other tool that we talk about endlessly is get yourself a high frequency tribe. Allies and good counsel are your best bet, because especially with things such as healing, but also decisions, life decisions, this high frequency environment or people around you can check things with you, right?
Right. It doesn't mean they're always right.
No, it doesn't.
But it's data that you can check.
Exactly.
And you check it. You don't just listen to it and say, that one doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't just poof it away. The whole reason that it's coming to you is so you look at it.
Right. And that's how your higher self speaks to you also. It's not like a woo-woo thing. It talks to you through your environment. It talks to you through people, books, this podcast. Right? It talks
newsletter,
to you. The Substack.
The Subscribe Star, Walk With Me Now, your tribe.
Yes.
That's how it talks to you.
Yeah.
Your dreams, if you use a dream book. Your cards, if you're attuned to your cards. Mm-hmm. Those are ways.
Yeah.
But you always, which is the same as never, which is an absolute, which generally you're supposed to always ignore an absolute. But in this case, you don't. You always check it with your high frequency tribe. Mm-hmm. When it's a big thing.
Sometimes
that's like
your tribe and high frequency, more than just one person. Okay?
Yeah, more than one person.
Because a lot of the times we can think, oh yeah, my partner, or my husband, my
wife, they'll check with me,
and everything's gonna be great. But that's not always true, because one person is not strong as a group or as many perspectives, and sometimes that person may have opened a door to negativity. And the data, information, or item comes into you. You trust that person, but it comes in anyway and knocks you over because they had an open door to negativity, right?
Yeah.
And even though you were doing great, you're doing really great, and then boom, smack in your low frequency engagement, and you have to be really careful when that happens, right?
Yeah. What did I do this morning? Didn't eat nothing.
Yes. Did you drink enough water?
No.
Did you sleep last night?
Yes.
At least 1 out of 3.
1 out of 3.
And then what happened?
Enough. Got crabby, and I gave you some stevia.
Yeah, and what happened?
Impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Because
you gave me a mouthful of stevia, even though I'm highly allergic to it, highly intolerant, and my body reacts really horribly to it.
She hates it.
And my frequency just slams to the ground whenever
like slamming
I take
a double Twinkie with chocolate syrup from Hershey's.
Yeah. And it's not good. It's not good at all. And immediately I fell into like a massive headache, nausea and itchiness. And then like my frequency, I could feel my emotional body cracking, and I could feel my mental body going right into really negative, horrific and traumatic events in my life. That reminds her of those events, right? Mm-hmm. And I was watching all that very interested, thinking, interesting. Yeah, this too will pass. It's fine. It shall pass. But at the same time, I was thinking to myself, okay, so we have to go back to, did you read the ingredients? Please read the ingredients before you hand me things over. But I said that's ad nauseum, and it's not going to work. So now
it does do work. I read it most all the time. It's just occasionally no. Where I think that it's okay. It's like,
but it isn't okay. So
it's not even diet pop.
It's also an open door to negativity. Now, I'm not saying I was the victim there, but that's when we look at the other side of these partnerships. when you have another person in your life...
this is what we're looking at.
Right? When you have other people in your life, you have to be aware that you join frequencies, you join a field of energy. And if the other person is not as diligent as you are to keep the frequency at a specific level, high frequency, then you become vulnerable to it too by choice. What choice? Being with that person, right? So that choice is that's why the free will hasn't been violated and there's no victim or aggressors here. It's simply about frequencies. And when there's a low frequency, it will be exploited. It happens all the time. So especially if you're involved in like a lot of work to embody the high frequency paradigm on Earth, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, I know, it's a pain, oh my gosh, you can't drink alcohol, you can't have sugar, you can't have artificial thingies, and you can't have this, and you can't have that, but you have to every day check on yourself and on that and the other for yourself, and also you demand that of your partner. You can't, right? So you deal with what you can deal with, and if it's not a deal breaker, it's not a deal breaker. You just, deal with it when it happens.
So I got a whole bunch of blackberries right off the vine to try and antidote it.
Yeah. Which it didn't.
It did too.
It didn't.
A little bit.
No, that's an illusion.
The stew helped?
No.
Helped me.
That's good that it helped you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, frequencies and knowing what your items are. Now, one might say, well, Inelia's shouldn't have a vulnerability to allergies, right? To
sensitivities, allergies, whatever
right?
you want to call it.
And here's the thing. What I found was that, for example, my lungs are very sensitive to certain chemicals and to smoke, right? And because of it, I could feel 3 times it has saved my life and my family's life when I felt chemicals in the air. And once a whole neighborhood, we were sitting at the table with my sister in Seville, and everybody was having lunch. It's lunchtime in Seville. Everybody goes home for lunch. So the neighborhood was full. It's in the city. And then suddenly my lungs started hurting really badly. And I closed my eyes because of that. And I knew there was a gas leak, a major one. And I turned around to my sister and I said, we need to check the stove. There's a gas leak. And so nobody could smell it. It was that gas of they use over there doesn't have that perfume in it. That's stenchy,
like propane.
Natural gas, it doesn't have that stink. Anyways, we went to the stove. No, I said no. And I got closer and closer to the window. And I said, it's coming in from outside. And then I looked and I perceived that it was coming out of underground behind one of the other houses, the other block. And I turned around and I said, there's a gas leak there. We need to call the gas company. And it's at the time, because they knew me, my sister turns around to her husband and says, call the gas company. We have to evacuate. And he's like, what are you talking about? Just do it. So he did. And because he knew he had the phone number, he was from the electric company. He had all the phone numbers. So he called the company and they sent a truck with those emergency whatevers. And they literally evacuated the whole block because it was a massive leak. And they said if it had been an hour or two later, the entire block would have blown up because it was bubbling or something. I don't know. It was creating a bubble in all the rooms and the building and underneath and everything. It would have been a big crater there instead. So it's like, yeah, my lungs are sensitive, but are they? Or are they actually the natural way that we should be? Because we're not desensitized to chemicals and poisons, right?
Right.
So the other thing, for example, highly intolerant to aspartame. So when all the new drinks and sodas and came out with aspartame came out.
And every gum, and they couldn't buy gum without aspartame.
Yeah, chewing gum, and I love chewing gum and all those things. And then I started getting really bad reactions to it. And I looked at the ingredient and it was like aspartame. And then I started researching it and it's like, oh my gosh, how could they put this stuff? Especially in things that children eat, you know?
It can't be on accident.
So bad. It's not accident. So when stevia, then they started putting stevia in it and everybody, oh, it's a nice plant. It's a plant. It must be good, right? It must be good. But it's like, no, my body rejects it. It's even worse than aspartame. Worse than aspartame. So I'm telling you, same with soy. Since I was a teenager, my mom was trying to make me eat the soy meat and I just couldn't do it. And then other soy products couldn't do it. And at some point, I mean, I loved one of the energy bars that they make, and they have one of the ingredients is soy.
Yeah, I saw.
And I would eat one like once a week or something because I loved it. But it's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Those are sensitivities. Or are they? Right? Or are they just
data
and information to tell us as a humanity, tell humanity, do not put these things in your body. These are bad for you. You don't have the data or information or look for stevia information or side effects or whatever. Oh, it's all natural and good and all the granola people are eating it. It's the greatest thing on the planet. And I'm saying, no, don't do it.
Well, I learned not to trust those too much anymore.
I don't care. Yeah.
The stores, those stores that turn to the worst won't let you in.
I know. Yeah.
And I should have been the opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
So
topsy-turvy.
It's like you have to be really wary and careful. Are my sensitivities a negative thing? I think not, because it has allowed me and my body to stay pretty unpolluted because I'm not desensitized to poisons. Mm-hmm. So, and today, yeah, I got a hit, but that's because we lived together and you indulged in negativity and it happened.
Well,
right?
I poured it out and I'm not drinking them.
Yes, that was first.
Yeah.
Usually you say, it's okay, I'll have it. And you'll drink it anyways, right?
No, not so much.
Not anymore, huh? Yeah. So, and it's a matter of, like, I don't know how to say it. It's like you live with an environment and individuals. It's somewhat the Inelia gave me the word, desensitized, and I love it. I'm using it in everything now. It's like when people call me patient because I say the same message, I give the same message 10,000 million times. And with the same enthusiasm and the same words, and I say it in a different way, and again in a different way, and I'll say it again and again and again. And then people started saying when they realized it, when they actually heard it and said, oh my gosh, you've been talking about this since forever. And I said, yeah, I have my diaries from when I was a teenager and it's there.
Same words.
Same
pretty
words.
Much, same story.
Same stories. And people say, oh, you're so patient. And I'm like, no, it's something else. I'm not patient at all. It's something else. And Inelia figured it out the other day. You're desensitized. Yep. So living with individuals who may have open doors to negativity, I know this happens. So I'm desensitized to it. I do not fall into victim aggressor. I mean, I shame them. I shamed Larry quite a lot about the stevia thing and other times as well to see if they'll get through. It's not a light game that I play, and any tiny little indulgence will bring in these things. And eventually he'll get it, right? Eventually he starts getting it. And eventually he starts doing less and less of those indulgences, which is good, it's fabulous. But we have food here at the Shaman Shack, and we have visitors, or sometimes we go and eat out, and other people. And with those people, I'm always extremely wary of what I eat, because it could be a tiny little thing, a tiny little thing. And there's items that are, to my body, or the desensitized aspect of it, or the sensitiveness of it, that are way more severe than just a headache and a tummy ache, right? So, or nausea, or whatever it is, it's like, that's nothing. Or the bad negative thoughts that came with it. That's nothing compared to the other effects that certain items can have. And with those, I'm extremely careful. And when my viewpoint is when this happens, or somebody brings something and like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. So, oh my God, I thought it was okay. Or, this one has the nasty stuff, But this one I left without the nasty stuff for you. I know, and the more of that happens, the more that person does that, I know they're leaving. I know that they are opening the door to negativity to a degree of being out of integrity, to the degree that they can no longer be in my environment, and the human collective takes them out. It just happens, or their higher self takes them out. It just happens. Yeah. So it's not a big deal. I mean, I don't have to overly analyze it or whatever. But it's interesting. It's data points. Right? It's data points. And I could go, and sometimes I'll go to the person and I'll say, hey, this is happening. Can you be aware, be wary, and blah, 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 and this and this and the other. And the person will either react from an egoic viewpoint of an attack or see it as data and information and go, oh, yeah, I'm gonna look at that. Something's going on here. And they look at it and they resolve it. And it's great. Right? So sickness, shocker, right?
Shocker.
It's more to do with expansion of awareness than symptoms.
Exactly. And our current medical system is all about symptoms and not the other.
Right.
Well, not our current.
Not our
current, but the predominant
on the planet,
which supports a split.
It does support the split. Absolutely does. Yes. Yeah. Cookie. What is that? Is that your paper? Are you done? Are you complete?
Yep.
All right.
I think we covered this. I think you got it.
You got it.
And if you haven't got it, you can.
Oh, she says you got it.
Listen to the Substack, and you'll just read it.
Yes.
Right. Go to Substack.
Yes.
Inelia Benz.
Yes.
The article is there, and you read it. You push play and just listen.
Mm-hmm.
So just say it without all this commentary. Or you can listen to this podcast again.
Yeah.
And we could talk about it and detail about it.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have a second hour.
We're going to have a second hour.
For Subscribe Star.
Second hour. For Walk With Me Now. Either one gets it.
Yes.
And then we'll go into detail on the questions about the questions that we brought up about the article.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got it covered.
We got it covered.
Yeah. Okay. Love you, honey.
Love you too, darling.